podcast. Today we'll talk about the 14 things I learned in 2024. Here are the 14 things I learned in 2024. And I think it will be of benefit to each and every one of you as you watch. You may pick a few lessons here and there that you can use for yourself and for your business. So I'm streaming live on Instagram. I'm streaming live on my podcast. Let's get into the 14 things I learned in 2024. Welcome. So as we speak, it is 16th of December 2024. And in a few days' time, we will be saying goodbye to 2024, and we'll be moving, gloriously into 2025. I don't know how your 2024 has been for you. I hope you had a great year. And greatness of a year doesn't necessarily mean money. You probably fell in love. You started a new relationship. You started a new business. Having a good year doesn't necessarily mean that you made money. Yeah, so it was a good year for me. I'm happy about that. And I trust God that it was a good year for you. Those of you watching on Instagram, take a screenshot, share this with your friends and family members to join us as we go live here on Instagram. So let's get into it. The first thing that I learned in 2024 that is so critically important is follow up like your life depends on it. That is the first lesson. You follow up like your life depends on it. So that's one of the first things I learned in 2024 is that you should follow up like your life depends on it. Because it really, really does. You want to follow up in 2024. The thing that I learned in 2024 is to follow up like your life depends on it. Because at the end of the day, it truly does depend on it. So follow up. I mean, the research is out that 70% of people lose sales not because their product is not great, their service is not great, but they lose sales because they did not follow up. By the way, I hope you guys are hearing me. Tell me where you're watching me from. Tell me where you're watching me from. What part of the world are you watching this podcast from? I'd like to know the part of the world where you're watching this episode of the Paul Foh podcast from. So we've done 175 episodes. That's a great one. 80% of people discovered us this year. All right, so tell me what part of the world are you watching this from? So the first thing I learned, Frankfurt, Germany. That's good. That's very, very good. Atama from Abuja. Very, very good. Very, very good. Where else? Who else? Where are you watching this from? What part of the world are you watching this? Come on, represent your neighbor. Represent the area where you're watching this podcast from. All right, great. So the follow up like your life depends on it. And some of you watching me right now, you know what I'm saying is the truth. You have lost sales because you did not follow up. Follow up is key. And you follow up systematically so that you are not a nuisance to the person that you're following up. And now with technology, you can follow up in a more strategic way. That's the first lesson I learned. The second lesson I learned is that it's still on follow up. I said, never be ashamed to follow up. All right. Because the shame of following up cannot be compared to the shame of not being able to pay your bills. I will say it again. The shame of not following up cannot be compared to the shame of not being able to pay your bills. Can I get a witness right there? So the upside of following up is unlimited, but the downside is, it's not a good thing that you can pay your bills because you did not follow up. All right. Number 3, if you find a business model or a profit center that works for you, double down on it. If you find a business model or a profit center that works for you, double down on it. Very, very important. I love the way Charlie Munger put it. He said, when the odds are in your favor, bet heavily. When the odds are in your favor, bet heavily. Now, this is an important part of this conversation. They were asking Nick, I can't pronounce his last name now, is the founder of Revolut Bank. Revolut Bank is one of the most successful banks in the world. They have 50 million users. I don't think you heard me. I'll say it again. They have 50 million users. I've worked with a fintech bank before. I know they struggle to get 1,000 users. They have 50 million users. The market capitalization of that bank is over $50 billion. They were interviewing the guy recently, and he said something very powerful. He said, at every point in time, they have 8 bets. They have 8 bets. That means they are betting on 8 things at the same time. They are waiting for the one that will work, and they will double down on that one that will work. That's so powerful. In physics, they call it noise, and you're looking for signal. You have to release the noise first before you get the signal. When you get the signal, you double down on the signal. So I always encourage, I told that to members of my community today, that have various bets. Run ads, send a DM, send an email, make a sales call, release all your bets, and from the bets you will begin to know the thing that is working for you. Did you get that? When you release all your bets, you will know what is working for you. And when you find out what works for you, what you want to do, you want to double down on it. You got it? Great. Number 4, I said that anyone can go viral. Now, I used to think that going viral was for only certain people. I didn't used to think or believe that I could go viral with a piece of content. So here's what happened to me. I interviewed Dr. Olumide Emmanuel recently on my podcast, on episode 174 of the Paul Fo podcast. So I interviewed Dr. Olumide Emmanuel on episode 174 of the Paul Fo podcast. I dropped a clip of that interview on my Facebook page. As I speak to you right now, that video has 250,000 views in less than 30 days. The video has 250,000 plus views in less than 30 days. How many of you have seen that view before? How many of you have seen that video? It has gone viral. It has gone viral. Now, I sat thinking, I said, I've always wanted to go viral. So the problem is never the market. The problem has been me. If you give the market what the market wants, the market will give you what you want. So never complain that people are not commenting on your content. Never complain that people are not buying from you. The problem is never, ever, ever the market. The problem is always us, you, the service provider. If you put in the right bait in front of the customer, you will attract the right people. Your customers are not your problem. Let me give you an example. If you put a worm in the water, you will attract fish. If you put a worm, you will not attract a dog, because the bait of a dog is not worm. The bait of a dog is probably beef, steak. Did you get that? The bait of a fish is not meat. The bait of a fish is worm or something else. Did you get that? Did you get that? So it is the bait that determines what you attract. If you put worm in front of fishes, you will attract them. They will come to you. If you put worm in front of a dog, you will not attract that dog, because that is not the bait that attracts the dog. Did you get that? So it is the bait that you put in front of a customer or an audience or a market that determines what you attract into your ecosystem. So you want to determine, what kind of customers do I want to attract? The kind of customers you want to attract will determine the kinds of baits that you should then put in front of the customer. Did you get that? If you got it, say I got it. I want to know that you got it. If you got it, say I got it. Are you guys enjoying this? If you're enjoying this, give me some stars, give me some hearts, write a comment, share this with your friends and family members. If you're not following me on Instagram, click on the follow button. If you're listening to this on Spotify, write a comment about this episode. If you're enjoying this, click on the subscribe button on Spotify. Click on the subscribe button on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, click on the plus sign on Apple Podcasts. So let's continue. If you're enjoying this, please write a comment and tell me, yes, I'm truly enjoying this. So the bait that you put in front of the customer is what will determine what you attract. And the best bait to put in front of an audience is what the audience wants, is a need in their life, is a gap in the life of the audience. If you put a gap or a need in their lives, you will attract. Let me ask you a question. If you are trying to buy a house, as you're watching me right now, and somebody puts out a piece of content out there and says 5 ways to buy a house in Abuja, 5 ways to buy a house in London, and you're really serious about it, and you also see 5 ways to drink water, which of the piece of content will be most attracted to you? Of course, your guess is as good as mine. It is the one that says 5 ways to buy a house, isn't it? Because that is the bait that will attract you. Did you get that? So you got it. Number 5, you want to build your team. That's another thing I learned in 2024. I've always known that I don't have a permanent staff. I don't have a permanent person that works for me. Everybody that I work together with as a team, they all have their own businesses. They all have their things. So I call it the movie industry model. All the musicians, all the movies that you see being produced, the producer uses the movie industry model. If he wants to produce a movie, he will hire a script writer, he will hire an editor, he will hire a distributor, he will hire a makeup artist. All of those people are there for that project. After the project, everybody will go back to their independent work. And with the advent of the internet, you can have that model. I have 4 great people that I work with. All right, 4 amazing people that I work with in different parts of the world. In fact, one of them is even in Egypt. Did you get that? That I work in different parts of the world. They have made my life easier, and I believe I've made their lives also easier. And I'm going to do more of that this year. And I found out that if you can leverage people, you will get a lot done. If you can leverage people, you will get. I'll give an example. There is a lady that manages my community. I've run that community now for 4 years since the pandemic. She works in my community. Guess what happens? She gets 20% of every revenue I generate in that community. And guess what? She has done a better job in the community than I have done in the 4 years of me running it alone. Think about it. It is better that you have a part of a pie and the pie is doing excellently well than for you to have 100% of a pie that you are doing not so great a job on the pie. So I hope this will liberate some of you watching me right now. You don't have to take everything. I'm working on a project right now with members of my team as well. They also get a percentage of the pie. I'd rather that people have percentages of the pies than for me to have 100% of a pie and I'm not doing an excellent job at that. Can I get a witness, somebody? I think I'm teaching better than you're amening. This is a master class that I'm giving to you, and I hope that you are getting value from this. Now, before I continue, this episode of the Paul Foh podcast was sponsored by Connect Africa. Connect Nigeria is one of the biggest communities in the world. All right, so you want to join the community. If you join them, I think you get a 1 month free. If you want information about that, click on the link on my bio. Read my latest article on Substack is there. Also, I'm doing a 5-day make sales challenge. I'd like for you to join that 5-day make sales challenge. My webinar, it starts from the 10th to the 15th of January. What happens there? I teach a class All right, and I instigate you to take action on the class. Like in day one, I'll be teaching you the 12 ways to get leads for your business. Day two, I'll be teaching you the 12 psychological triggers that make people buy. Noella Martins attended my training in July this year. On day two of that class, she sold a house in Abuja. She sold a house in Abuja based on what I taught her in that class. So to sign up for the 5-day Make Sales Challenge, click on the link on my Instagram bio if you're watching me on Instagram right now and join the class. Or if you're listening to this on Spotify or YouTube, click on the link on the show notes to join the 5-day Make Sales Challenge. And that is not all. If you join the 5-day Make Sales Challenge, I'll give you a 1-year free admission into my community for free for 1 year. In my community, I review a book every single month. We review a book every single month in my community. Every single month we review a book because I read a lot, all right? And then we teach a class every Sunday in my community, and then we network with each other. So to join that, click on the link on my Instagram bio or the link on my show notes. How many of you watching me on Instagram would like to sign up for that class right now? Say aye. And even if you don't have the complete money, the class is $48. If you're in Nigeria, it's 100,000 naira. You can pay in 3 installments. If you want to pay in installments, send me a DM right now. My team will send you an account number that you can start your payment from. Let's continue. Number 6 is watch your cost and reduce your costs. Watch your cost and reduce your costs. Watch your cost and reduce your costs. When my accountant sent me how much the business made this year, it was very good. It was very impressive. Very, very good. We did a P&L. It was very, very good. And I made up my mind that one of the things that is going to help me increase my profitability is to significantly reduce my cost. If you reduce your cost of running business, you will retain more of your profits. You will retain more of your profits. Yeah. And I know why, because of certain real estate project that we embarked on as a business this year, and I know why that happened. Get now. Number 7 is you want to do a lot of webinars. Webinars are critically important for you to grow your business. I don't know why people don't do webinars. I don't know what is stopping you from doing webinars. I think if you do webinars, it will help you, to build your personal brand, establish yourself, sell your product and your services, display your expertise very, 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 very well. Number 8 is read your goals daily to yourself. I read my goals every single day to myself, including today. Every day I read my goals in my journal. Every single day I declare my goals to myself every day, because I know the power of life and death is in the power of your tongue. Number 10 is give, because givers never lack. You've got to give if you want to go up. This is Christmas season. Look for people to help. Look for people to give to. They don't have to be your family members. It doesn't have to be something big, but be of service to somebody else, and the universe will conspire to make your own dreams a reality. Number 10, you got to collaborate and partner with each other. Number 11, you got to learn a high income skill. Learn a high income skill. It is important. What are some of the high income skills? Copywriting is a high income skill. Creating content like this is a high income skill. Data analytics is a high income skill. ChatGPT prompt engineering is a high income skill. Those are skills that they pay you very, very high for the work that you do. And number 12, take notes, read a lot. I read 32 books this year, and I spent 20,000 minutes listening to podcasts this year. So it was a great year of knowledge, and it showed in my revenue, it showed in the quality of my life. Number 13, you have to read, you have to pray. Prayer is the key. I just finished praying with my children before I jumped on this recording this evening. So you don't want to play with prayer. If you can pray twice a day, pray. Really, prayer is a life. You should pray every single time. And number 14, you want to love your spouse, honor your wife, honor your husband. I think if you bring love to and honor the people that God has given to you, you would have a better year. So these are some of the things that I learned in 2024. I hope that this was useful to you. Those of you watching this on the on YouTube, smash the subscribe button, write a comment. Those of you watching this on Spotify, comment on it and share this with your friends and family members. Thank you. But my Instagrammers, don't go anywhere. I'm still talking to you. How many of you like to attend the 5-day Make Sales Challenge? Let me know. I would like to add this. Who wants to attend that class? Say I. Who would like to attend